afternoon. A very warm welcome to this special. South Africa beat India by 7 wickets at the Arun Jaitley Stadium, and India could not create that record of 13 consecutive wins after they were beaten comprehensively by South Africa. And who was the man who made the difference for South Africa? It was David Miller. It almost seemed like he picked up from where he left off for Gujarat Titans in absolutely incredible form. We saw David Miller once again saving his team along with Rassie van der Dussen to win the first match of this 5-match series that is being played between India and South Africa here at home. Nikhil Narayan is here with me, and also I was there at the Arun Jaitley Stadium, and I can tell you the atmosphere there was absolutely electric, given that it's the first time we're having a series without the bio bubble. You know, there were a lot of people in the stadium. It was house full, and of course the players themselves, they've been moving around and they will be moving around throughout the series. So it almost seems like we're now getting back to that normalcy that we wanted so badly, Nikhil. But in the end, India completely outplayed by South Africa.
Absolutely. You know, more than 400 runs being scored in a match. You know, what else the crowd would have wanted? A pack capacity crowd in the series opener. And frankly, you know, India played, I think, 70% of the match was in India's hands, except for that one partnership, Maya. That one partnership of 131 of 60-odd balls between Miller and, you know, Rassie van der Dussen. Absolutely stunning. One of the best, you know, partnerships in the history of T20I cricket. I mean, the second highest 4th wicket partnership ever. And that partnership just took away the match from India. India was stunned. I mean, I wouldn't say we bowled brilliantly, but we also didn't bowl terribly. Just that the way Miller batted and then Rassie van der Dussen, they completely took the match away from him. Stunning batting display. And sometimes you have to just give credit to the batsmen. They have just taken away the match from us.
Yes, let's take a look at that now. 212 for 3. That was the highest successful chase by South Africa. And this partnership, you've already talked about it, Nikhil, a record partnership. But I also felt that the way they went about this partnership, where David Miller from the word go was the aggressor, and almost handheld van der Dussen, because he didn't look as fluent first up. But then I think it was right after that broken bat, and he changed his bat. Everything changed for van der Dussen, because then he came, you know, hitting 4s and 6s.
Absolutely. You know, it started with, you know, Miller being the aggressor, and then van der Dussen took it to another level after the 16th over. But if you see, they scored 126 runs in the last 10 overs. It's a world record. Yeah. It's never been, 126 has never been scored between overs 11 to 20 in a successful chase. So that is what, you know, that is the level of achievement of what the two did for South Africa yesterday. It's, you know, it was in many ways a historic chase by South Africa. And India, I mean, also this doesn't show well on Rishabh Pant's CV. You know, we were critical of him being given the captaincy yesterday in a preview show. And Rishabh Pant in his first match, home ground, cannot defend 211. Some of the bowling changes, not utilizing India's best spinner, one of the best spinners in the world, in Yuzvendra Chahal, not even bowling 3 overs. Yes, there was David Miller and other left-handers, but Chahal is not Keshav Maharaj. Chahal is the best leg spinner in the world, and you expect Chahal to win a battle even against left-handers. So, you know, some of the tactics of Rishabh Pant were questionable.
That's right, but we've got to talk a little bit more about David Miller and how good has he been. This is David Miller 2.0. There was always this question around his consistency over the last few years, but David Miller in the IPL and now carrying on his form in this series just gone on to show that there has been a complete change in his mindset and how he even approaches spinners. He's talked about it himself, and he also spoken about role clarity for Gujarat Titans. Here, the same role clarity of being the finisher, but just the way he approaches spinners now.
Absolutely, and his numbers have, you know, drastically improved. It's like two different batsmen against spinners now, what he was before and what he has been in the last year and a half against spin. You know, David Miller, you know, he has the record for the fastest 100 in international T20 cricket, 35 balls. It was equaled by Rohit Sharma and then some other player from an associate nation. But 35 balls against Bangladesh in South Africa. And, you know, the thing is, you spoke about consistency. in 10 innings before that 100, in 6 of them, he had single-digit scores.
Correct.
Then suddenly, one day, 101, 36 balls, world record. That has been Miller's story. That has been Miller's story for the most of his career.
Correct.
Whether it is the IPL, flashes of brilliance, then complete failure. But this IPL, for the first time, Meha, we saw Miller consistently performing in partnerships with Hardik Pandya, with Rahul Tewatia,
Correct.
backed by Hardik Pandya, who he praised, and then continuing that consistency and that form in this series. He started off brilliantly, and at the twilight of his career, he is in late 30s or mid 30s. David Miller is now peaking, and talent-wise, he's amongst the best hitters in the world.
Yes. Okay, but how much was that dropped catch by Shreyas Iyer, the impact that has had now? And, I'm sure that'll play on his mind, because that changed everything. You could have caught him. He dropped him in the 16th over, 29 of 30 balls, and then saw the destruction by Van der Dussen and David Miller.
I mean, he dropped the catch and the match. I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah.
I mean, that was, if Van der Dussen was out, I mean, you can say, the partnership wouldn't have been there, the batters to follow, although they had some all-rounders. I don't think Miller could have individually won it for South Africa. He needed to chase 126 in 10 overs. You can chase 12 to 13 in the last 2 or 3 overs. To do it for 10 overs is almost impossible. Therefore, it is the first time it is being done. So I think India would have won had Shreyas, picked that catch. But
Correct.
ifs and buts don't define the game.
Also, when you are not being able to defend 211, you may have some of your bowlers bowling well, but overall you've had a bad show with the ball. Wouldn't you agree? And I think in that you would also take into account Rishabh Pant's captaincy, as you were alluding to just a little while back, because here you have Indian pacers, 139 runs in 78 balls. That's what they gave away. And then on top of that, you're also not being able to utilize your bowlers at the right time. When you should have got Akshar Patel maybe in the power plays, you get Yuzvendra Chahal, who's been better in the middle overs. So yes, it's what can you say? This is his captaincy. Again, question marks around his captaincy. It'll get better, but for now, there are these issues with it.
Absolutely. it's the first time India hasn't defended a 200 plus total in their T20I history. So, that doesn't go well on Rishabh Pant's CV. Also, 5 of your 6 bowlers going above 10 per over, everyone except Avesh Khan. That doesn't show well. Although conditions had become easier, there was a little bit of dew. The ball was coming onto the bat better in the second half. But still, you should defend 211 with that. With Yuzvendra Chahal, Harshal Patel, Avesh Khan, Akshar Patel. He did not utilize. We've spoken about this. Yuzvendra Chahal was not utilized well. 2.1 overs for Yuzvendra Chahal, the best spinner currently in the world amongst leg spinners, is just not good enough.
Okay, now what about this being a dress rehearsal, as we've been saying throughout the series and over the next few months as we look ahead to the T20 World Cup later this year? This was the first audition, the first match of the series. How have some of these players fared? All eyes were, of course, on Hardik Pandya, on how he would bat, and he batted well, just got 1 over to bowl, but the openers as well, in the absence of KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, for Ishan Kishan and Ruturaj Gaikwad. Ishan Kishan specifically, Nikhil, just the way he batted. Started slowly, didn't look very fluent first up, but then picked up.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is he did not give up after starting slowly. 18 of the first 19 balls, as you said, started very sluggishly, number of edges, lucky to survive. But then the second wicket stand he had with Shreyas Iyer, he dominated. He scored 50 of 25 balls in that partnership. Overall 76-48, the highest score of the match. Strike rate in the late 150s. At the time of his dismissal, he had scored more than half of India's runs. And the striking feature, Meha, was 82% in boundaries, 11 fours, 3 sixes. So that is when Ishan Kishan is at his peak. He scores a number of runs in bound, and we saw yesterday 6 failures he had in the IPL. Strike rate was only 120, which was a matter of big concern for MI. He started off well, but completely failed in the middle phase, and MI were out of the race. And then they had their worst season. But India would be happy that Ishan Kishan, has again sort of shown his A game, his destructive game, because frankly, with Rohit Sharma's form, they need a reserve opener for the World T20, and Ishan Kishan probably is that reserve opener for India.
Yeah. But even when you look at this opening combination, in the first 5 overs, they got
runs.
off to a sluggish start. They did accelerate, and I know that we've been talking about this whole approach to batting in the power play, and not just batting aggressively in the power play, but throughout. You just got a sense that it wasn't quick enough. Maybe it had to do with the conditions, the pitch itself, fresher. I don't know what the reason was, but somehow you compare it to how South Africa started.
Yeah, absolutely.
78 of 6 overs, and that made a huge difference.
It did. I mean, I was surprised because Rohit Sharma, the captain himself, started this template post the debacle in the World T20 in the New Zealand series, and India was batting at 9.5. Then against West Indies, Sri Lanka, and the average run rate had picked up in the power play. But you then score only 30 in the first 5. Yes, they made up in the 6th over, but India should have, you need to score 54 to 60 in the first 6 overs if you haven't lost early wickets, which they hadn't. And I think India lost a good 10 to 15 runs there.
Okay, so there you have it then. India versus South Africa. The first match has been won by South Africa. What will it be in the second match? We'll be there as well. At 6 o'clock, we'll be back as well. There's a story that we ran on News9 about the corruption in Uttarakhand cricket. There's been selection bias, financial misappropriation of funds, officials being charged with bribery. There are a lot of those issues that need to be addressed. We've done a story, and we'll take that further in that special. That's at 6 o'clock. Do join us then. News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the world of sports. That's it from Nikhil and me. Goodbye.